Alright everyone, our main story today, of course, is about Project Veritas being continuously persecuted by Joe Biden's lawless DOJ. A new allegation in filings in court by Project Veritas, led by James O'Keefe, of course, is that the feds went through their emails and then failed to inform the court and claimed that didn't happen, I guess. Link in the description, archived, of course. Now, what I think about this story is it's very interesting. Ashleybidens diary was stolen long ago. Veritas sat on this material. Some of it got leaked out anyway, and it showed Joe Biden involved in potentially creepy behavior with his own daughter, allegedly showering naked with her at an age that most people would consider inappropriate. Corroborating, once again, an example of Joe Biden, at least, even if he's not trying to be creepy and perverted, just not getting boundaries, like physical boundaries regarding female individuals. And that's giving him the benefit of the doubt, and I don't really know that we can do that, considering the very, very long track record. He's still schmoozing with women now, even though when he was campaigning, you'll remember he came out with his wife there and apologized. Well, I'm a very tactile sort of guy. It's just, yeah, I'm from the 50s, and back then, you fondled your secretary, and it was okay because you paid her a bonus. That's basically, Biden's trying to almost claim incompetence through age, which is rather interesting. But when the diary material was first put out there, it hadn't been corroborated by Project Veritas. It hadn't been corroborated. I didn't even report on it at the time. I mentioned it in passing only because I said I have no clue if this is real. They verified that it is, and the feds have verified that it's real by having an investigation into the theft of the diary. It'd be a pretty high-level burglary. Oh yeah, it's only the President of the United States' daughter whose diary you just stole. I'm sure there won't be any problems here. But the new allegation is that their emails were rifled through, Project Veritas emails, without the courts okaying anything or knowing that it happened. Now, normally in a court, in a legal proceeding like this, if such an action is taken by the prosecution and the investigators, potential prosecution, the court is made aware of it. There is an admission that it happened, assuming that it did. And apparently that wasn't actually made plain, and they're saying, well, it's a theft case, so we don't have to do anything. Well, yeah, if you're raiding Project Veritas, you're treating them like criminals, insinuating that someone there did something illegal. They have a right to mount a defense. They have a right to challenge your actions throughout the course of those proceedings, prosecution or not. They were denied that right, according to their filed allegation. Now, before I get into the other side of this story that I find very, very telling, and a little bit from the ACLU because it's funny, keep in mind down below there will be a pinned comment if you're watching this video on YouTube with links to other video hosting sites that I use. Keep in mind that I make exclusive videos every single day on those platforms that are not uploaded to YouTube. Today it'll only be one because I have a really, really great literary update. It's a fairly good work. I think a lot of you will like it. It's up the alley of, I think, more people than like the herbalism and alchemy. So stay tuned for today's second video regardless of platform. Here's the thing. Here's the bifold. First, you've even got the ACLU complaining that if the filings are true, that it's egregious. They did that the other day. They qualify it by saying, well, Veritas deception is concerning, but so is this action by the U.S. government. You should just leave it at this action by the U.S. government is concerning, because where's the deception? Veritas is constantly tarred and feathered as deceptive. There was one legal case years and years ago where there was selectively edited footage. The sort of thing that CNN does with every goddamn news report. To my knowledge, every single other suit against them for defamation, etc. has fallen flat. So that's a pretty good track record. It's better than Bloomberg or MSNBC. You remember, I don't know, Nick Sandman and numerous other examples from the last decade or so? Yeah, Project Veritas comes out smelling like a rose when you put them through fact-checking. There's a reason why typically they just ignore them instead of sending them to Snopes for reference. But the first thing that's concerning here, and is the lack of reporting on this story. The fact that a significant court filing alleging a very, very high-level legal misstep, a violation of the Constitution, the constitutional rights of the potential defendant, number one, has been undergone. That's important. That should be covered by the news, but you know that they won't. That's a given. Number two, The Fed's continued investigation proves the diary is real. Why is nobody in the legacy media bothering to even jot down a page C article saying, hey, Joe Biden was showering naked with his daughter and made her feel uncomfortable? Is this not a further corroboration of a long string of incidents, number one, in which he has very publicly made women uncomfortable, especially those who are younger than him, which is most women, but on the younger end, not middle-aged yet, often not in college yet, number one. And number two, doesn't it look a little bit like an attempt to hush this story up? Number one, that there is no reporting, and number two, that the people that verified and broke the story, even though the leak was before that, is pre-Veritas, of course, is being effectively persecuted by the U.S. government when the U.S. government and these groups at the executive level are run by a person directly implicated in the material there that was allegedly stolen. How do you know that it was even stolen? How do you know that it wasn't someone who personally knew Ashleybiden who swiped it? How do you know? How do you know? Projectveritas, just James O'Keefe said, hey, newcomer, I've got a special job for you. You're pretty stealthy. I've seen you sneaking extra coffee breaks and shit. I think that I have the job for you, and I'll pay you really well, with a brown paper bag. I want you to break into, the house owned by the daughter of the President of the United States, yeah. And then look for a diary or something. Look for something creepy. How would you, by the way, how would you even know that the diary was there? Unless you already knew Ashleybiden. Can I ask that question? Not everyone keeps a diary, fewer and fewer people now. Usually, if you're breaking into a house, I would think it would be obviously for political reasons. It wasn't a random break-in, presumably. That's a long shot. Any random journal lying around all of a sudden becomes fodder to this cat burglar who sneaks in, wearing, of course, all black clothes and with, ninja skills and stuff, and I'm sure cut open the window and then somersaulted down the hall to not trigger the alarms and stuff, and it's all very, very mysterious that this is happening this way. The bigger story, though, really is the fact that much like with Hunter Biden's laptop, which was retroactively verified, here's another verification of something where the average person in the public, faced with this knowledge, saying Joe Biden showered with his adolescent or even possibly, I can't remember, pubescent daughter, it made her feel uncomfortable, and the average person wouldn't think that's okay. They would consider that inappropriate. Ashleybiden certainly did. In her own words, claimed it in her diary. With a diary, because of the non-public nature of the text, you're not expecting other people to read it. Since you've got nothing to prove and nothing to hide, you're going to be potentially more frank when writing in a diary as opposed to something that's meant to be public. There's no reason to claim that she's lying here. Biden hasn't denied it. Nobody connected with Biden has denied it. The government hasn't denied it. I don't think Ashleybiden has come out and denied the contents. No, there's a theft. There's a burglary investigation. It was stolen. It's real. She would have to recant her claim, say, no, I was bullshitting in my diary for no reason whatsoever. In a long screed about my sexual history, I happened to mention my own dad. Yeah, it's totally not a scandal. We don't know that it happened, although there's a 99% chance it did. We don't know that anything further involving Joe Biden ever occurred, but again, you have public evidence, hundreds of video clips and pictures of him interacting with kids in a way that the average person would not find generally to be appropriate. Maybe isn't raping people or anything like that, like his son, probably did. He's not as degenerate as his son or his expanded circle of friends, including, half of Epstein's inner circle. But the optics of it would be politically, it wouldn't be a good idea, right? For Joe Biden to let it slide. It looks like the taxpayers are effectively being asked to pay for a witch hunt, a persecution of Project Veritas that's meant to frighten and intimidate them. And to shift from what's in the diary to, hey, Project Veritas bad, they broke into my daughter's house or something like that. I think that that's looming on the horizon. I don't think that they'll end their investigation. I think they'll continue to grind Veritas down, harassing them, and breaching the Constitution on multiple levels in the process. I do not believe that the legacy media will ever fairly report on any of these things. That's about all. Peace out.